So we'll start, hello Susie too, and we'll start this blab, which is Wines of Italy blab, and as always, I'm Caterina. And you can see, no, it didn't come the link of the winery, but I will put it there again. Now also Nadia is here. So tonight's our guest is Pietro Beconcini Winery, and we have Eva Bellagamba and also Leonardo Beconcini here. So they will talk about their winery, and the specific thing about their winery is that they do a Tempranillo in Tuscany. So if you have any questions while they're talking, I will try and put some questions here, but generally they can talk about their winery a bit how they want to. And if you have questions, you can just drop them in the message below, and I will then ask them the questions. So you can start, Eva. Leonardo.
Sure. So, okay. Good evening to you all. I am Eva. He's Leonardo, the winemaker. Leonardo is at the fourth generation here at Pietro Beconcini. And the winery is in San Miniato. San Miniato is just in the middle between Pisa and Florence. So we are in that side of Tuscany that is not just so internal, but we are closer to the coast. What is important is that where we are is the old bottom of the sea of 3 million years ago. So the soil is made by fossil shells and clay. That is something that we like to find in all our wines. So you can see here, I have with me always these that are fossil shells that you can find in our soil. It's something amazing that I like to make people see because it explains a lot. So Leonardo is at the first generation and is starting during the 90s to change the philosophy of the wine.
There's already a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's already a question. How does that affect the wine?
Oh, yes.
Jen is asking how.
Yeah. So fossil shells is made by calcium, and the salt is just in the soil. So you have a lot of minerals. And it's important for structured wines to stay in a soil where you have a lot of minerals. It's something that you can find in the wines, the saltiness, that is translated also in drinkability, in something more fluid. Isn't it, Leonardo? Yeah.
Freshness also in a very powerful wine.
Freshness, so drinkability, not something only heavy and structured, but also drinkability, thanks to the salt and to a huge amount of minerals, because also a lot of these are crushed inside the soil, very deep.
Okay, continue.
So just something about the work of Leonardo during the 90s, because Leonardo has done a great change respect to what his father was doing. His father has been producing during all his life the Chianti, the regular Chianti, the Chianti in the round bottle, the fiasco. During the 80s, 60s, 70s, it was just the mode of the Chianti. Leonardo started to study the old vines in the old vineyards, just to select the best traditional and autochthonous clones that we have in our vineyards. Why it is? Because it's patrimonium if you have very healthy old vineyards, and if you select the best of those vines and you can replant in the best positions, you have your patrimonium extended on your property. Is much better than to buy something new and plant, because you don't know how the adaptment will take about time for that kind of vine to adapt and to develop and to give its best. If you take something that you have just in the vineyards, adapted by many, many years, is perfect for us. So Leonardo was doing this, a long work of selections during the 90s, to select the best Sangiovese for his first wine, the Reciso. But during the research, he found also something really strange, unusual, some very old vines, and we started to do some micro vinifications to understand what they were capable to do. And the results were so interesting that even if we didn't know what it was, the variety, we started to replant inside our property. And we replanted something that at the beginning we were calling with the code X. So something that you don't know.
No.
Yes, sure. And when Leonardo found those very old vines, they were very healthy and also ungrafted. So I don't know if people here they know what it means. Ungrafted vines.
Ungrafted.
It means something.
No, perhaps you should explain.
Yeah, sure. Ungrafted vines. So survivors after the phylloxera, that was this disease that destroyed all the vines during the last century. If you have ungrafted vines, you have something very healthy and very, very precious. So we started by that patrimonium, and then we started to do new vineyards. And in 2004, we had the first bottle with the strange X variety. And then we discovered that it was Tempranillo with the DNA analysis in 2004. It was something incredible, something crazy, something that was shocking us, because Tempranillo is not present in Italy. So why we have Tempranillo? What has happened? When? But first of all, the result was amazing. So we were happy to be able to have these strange things closer to our more traditional wines. And so we started to think about why Tempranillo was there. And we live on the Via Francigena, the road of the pilgrims. So during the past, maybe someone took here some Tempranillo seeds. And the Tempranillo seeds have been adapted to this terroir perfectly, since we have found during the 90s, and then
So you found the Tempranillo in the 90s or already before?
We found very old vines. Yeah? Ti sento male.
Did you find them in the 90s or already before?
His father was cultivating those vines, but he had no idea that it was Tempranillo. Okay, so Leonardo found old vines also 100 years of age. The vines of Tempranillo were mixed between all the other kind of varietals. When during the 80s you were producing the regular Chianti, you are doing something with many different kind of varietals and everything was mixed. So the Tempranillo has been always mixed to the Sangiovese, to the Malvasia Nera, Canaiolo, Ciliegiolo, and his father, his grandfather, they had not the interest to select the different kind of varietals. That it was the work that Leonardo did during the 90s. A long work that lasted for 5 years.
Okay. Okay. So, anything else you want to tell about this, or do you want to tell about the other wines? I don't know if you hear me now, because I think something...
you arrive later, and then there is something that interrupts you. It's not very clear, but yes, I can tell you also something more about the other traditional wines, if you like, because we born like traditional winemakers. So our first love is Sangiovese, for sure. Then Tempranillo has been something that we could not to get in our heart, because it has been a great discovery, something incredible. And it's the unique presence in Italy of Tempranillo. So it's something really precious that we have, just something parallel to the traditional production. So we produce, I have here all my wines. We produce 3 traditional wines based on Sangiovese and 3 Tempranillo. Each wine is very different respect the other, with the proper personality. Just to speak about the Tempranillo, I have here the 3 bottles, the Vigna Le Nicchie, the Xe, and the Fresco di Nero. These three are so different between one and the other. The Vigna Lenicchio is the first wine that we have created by the very old vineyard, ungrafted vines, 100 years of age. And then the new vineyards we have used for the XE and also the Fresco di Nero, that is something more recent, that it's similar to a rosé, but is a light red wine. Something very nice for the summer. And the name XE is because for many years we didn't know that it was a Tempranillo, and we were calling with the code X. And XE is the Tuscan dialect, the word that we use to pronounce the X. Yes, sure. Thank you. Thank you, Caterina, if you're right.
I'm just trying to go out and come in again.
Okay.
You
So,
vabbè,
t'aspetto.
No, continua.
Continuo, va bene. Okay. So the first wine that Leonardo produced in the 90s is the Reciso. Reciso is a selection of the best Sangiovese that we have in our old vineyards, and we have selected the best, and we have replanted the same kind of clones on the best position that we have in our property. So Reciso means cutted. What it means, and also the label is just cutted properly. So we want to recall with this sign the long work of the green harvest, because if you think that one vine of Sangiovese can produce 5 kilos, in July we cut many grapes per vine just to concentrate in few grapes the best of that vine. So it's a long work of cutting, of recidere. So Reciso is the name of this wine. I am explaining, Caterina, the reason why the name of this wine. It's a wine that can last for 20 years, but even more, something that we love here in Tuscany. You know, Tuscany is for us, Sangiovese is the king of the grapes here, and it's perfect with our food. So it's something that we are very fond of. Then we have something particular, a little brother, that is the Maurleo. Maurleo is 50 Sangiovese, 50 Black Malvasia. This is something very unusual, like a blend, because the Black Malvasia is used, but most of all in small percentage. While here, like 50% with Sangiovese is something that can create something more smooth, something more fruity.
Yes, fine.
Something more fine. It's something that permits to the Sangiovese to be ready before, because to mature Sangiovese it takes a lot of time. So the Malvasia Nero is something that helps in creating a wine ready before.
Okay, so Maurleo was Malvasia and
Sangiovese, 50-50.
Okay.
And also the name Maurleo is 50-50. The name Maurleo is the name of the old Chianti of his father, and it derives from the blend of the two names of the sons of Mr. Pietro, Maurizio and Leonardo. So also in the name we recall this union of 50-50, the two sons.
Sounds good.
Something that...
Okay, so I'm writing the wine. I'm writing down the wine.
Yeah, 50-50, you're right. Yes.
Okay. And for the Reciso was Sangiovese.
Yes, Sangiovese 100%, pure Sangiovese, yeah. Selections of these three clones, just very old by the winery.
Okay.
The maturation of the important, because, you know, during the 90s we were using a lot of the small wooden barrels, but now we are back to the big wooden barrels. So we are back to the tradition of Tuscany. So we use much more big, huge wooden barrels with Slavonian oak. So barriques is something that is getting outside our winery. We are going back to deep tradition. If we remember the deep tradition.
Do you use barrique for something, or do you only use barrels, or do you use also some barrique? you use only barrels or also some?
Okay, we use
Only barrels or also some like?
yes. We use so big barrels that are how many liters?
1,000 liters to 2,500 and also 4,000
liters. So from the medium to very big wooden barrels, Slavonian oak, and also French oak, the smaller, but it's not a barrique. It's the double of tonneau, so it's 4 times even more a barrique. We have also part of
there's a question from There's a question from Dan. Why deciding to go back to the tradition with bigger barrels?
Leonardo, you are the man who thinks about it.
Experience for Sangiovese wine is better Slavonian oak and big barrels.
What happens with the small barrels? Something that affects the long aging of the wine, maybe.
Yes, the small barrels change a lot of the style because small barrel give to the wine boisé, a lot of boisé and a lot of oxygen.
So we prefer
the Sangiovese wine in the maturation time is very delicate, and also need a long time for maturation.
So it's better a big barrel so that the impact of the wood is not aggressive to the wine and it can take its time to mature. It takes more time. It's much more hard also for a winery to take a wine stopped in a barrel, but we prefer that style. That's something ready before, but something maybe not so well balanced. Isn't it? It's okay it's just the experience during many years we have understood what we prefer to express for that kind of Sangiovese. Just the fruitiness, the character of the Sangiovese. That with the small wooden barrel would a little bit overwhelm and close it. Okay, perfect. I was just reading if we had other questions. So this is what we are doing now, and with this wine, which is the Chianti Riserva, this is a wine that we mature completely in the big wooden barrels, and it's very different with respect to the Reciso, because here we have very old vines that have also 65 years of age. So the material that we have in the old vines is something so precious, fantastic. The older vineyards can express their best without the hand of the winemaker, while the younger vineyards of Sangiovese, we are speaking most of all, require a lot of work. It's like, you know, an horse riding. You have to take this horse to manage. With the old vineyards, we can be more relaxed because they can do a lot of work by themselves. It's a great help. Giusto?
Brava.
Ho spiegato bene? Ok, ok. Si stanno aggiungendo vigneti. So, Hugh, I have
Just continue.
Okay, I can continue. So I have explained you something traditional. We are missing the Vinsanto. That is something that we can explain at the end. So about the Tempranillo, that is the focus also of this discussion, because we are the unique winemakers of Tempranillo in Tuscany and also in Italy. We must say that here Tempranillo has been adapted during the centuries. So many years, many centuries here in this place of Tuscany. So it has been adapted. Tempranillo, the DNA of the Tempranillo told us that the vines that we have are 80% Tempranillo, and the 20% is something that has been created thanks to the adaptation to our terroir. So it's something by San Miniato, that is our village where we live. They have found a great ambient where to develop, because the old vines that we have, that have also 100 years of age, are really, really old and productive. How many kilos per vine we can have?
5, 6.
It's a lot. It's a lot if you think of a vine that per vine that is a very old vine. 5, 6 kilos. It's really a lot. Sangiovese is very productive. When it is in the peak of production, it produces 5 kilos. So Tempranillo is very, very generous.
So she asked, what's the grade of the other 20%?
So the DNA, okay, Tempranillo is the 80%. The 20% is the Tempranillo that has been mixed to our condition.
Is the natural evolution.
Is the natural evolution.
It's normal.
It's normal. When you have to create the vines, if you want the 100% of the DNA, you cut the wood and you recreate in the factory of the nursery of the vines. But if you eat an apple and you spit the seeds and the seeds grow in the soil, it's not the 100% of the DNA of that kind of apple. It's just something less, because the other percentage is something that will be created by the ambient where this seed has been put. So the same was with the vines. Why by seeds? Because I told you that we live on the Via Francigena, the road of the pilgrims. The pilgrims were traveling for a long, long travel from the north of Spain going to Rome. And they were taking with them light things like seeds. The seeds were in pockets. So in the pockets, you could have some seeds to use like money, to exchange with people that were guesting you. I just imagining something, what could be happening. And then you were maybe stopping for a while in a place for some reasons. You had your proper seeds to plant so that you could be able to be independent and survive for a while. So maybe that one of those pilgrims left here some Tempranillo seeds, and the seeds have been developed in vines that then during the centuries have been propagated by all the winemakers, and they didn't know that it was Tempranillo. Tempranillo is something, is a classification that has arrived in the last 100 years of age. Before, all the vines were similar.
Okay, perfect. So, any questions? Any questions by anyone? Otherwise, if you talk a bit more about the wines, no, you talked about the Sangiovese wines, and also a bit about the Tempranillo. Is there any other you want to? Because you also do a rosato, no, of Tempranillo.
Yes. So we have here the three kind of. Now you don't see because okay.
Which is very interesting.
So this is the light red wine, but for the color it can be classified like a rosato, like a rosé. We love this wine. It's something very fun because it's something that Leonardo was thinking about by many years. Why? You have to know that where we live, San Miniato, is not only the place of the Via Francigena, but is also the place of the white truffle in Tuscany. So we always think about our wines like gastronomic wines, like something that you must pair with food, because when you pair a wine with the right kind of food, you increase the value of the wine and of the food. And so we were thinking, okay, what we can do for the white truffle is something very delicate. Maybe we are annoyed by some white wines we don't like. Just think about a light red wine with no tannins, something that can be paired with, I don't know, tartare, with white truffle, with the egg and the white truffle, where you have some little fatness to clean with the acidity of the wine. And so Leonardo was thinking about this wine like an early harvest. We harvest the grapes around the 20th of August. So we save acidity, and then we keep the wine on the skins only for 3 days. So the color is something a very brilliant, very light like red. We can put in the fridge, use like a white wine, very also cold. And you have no tannins, you have a good amount of acidity and low alcohol, because when you harvest, it is not at the perfect maturation time, so the sugar is not so high like a level, and so the alcohol is lower when you develop. This is a wine that can make also the malolactic fermentation for the people that know how is the winemaking of a red wine. So if you do also in a wine the malolactic fermentation, at the end it's a red wine. And we like a lot this wine. Also very cold, that we put in the fridge. We use like aperitif. The bottle is completely white, and we use a lot also on the fish, like salmon, like tuna, fried things. It's very, very flexible, very, very easy. Too easy because we can just enjoy one bottle per lunch, one bottle per dinner, and it's too much. I don't know, maybe.
No, it's a very enjoyable wine.
The other wine.
So I actually even bought 2 bottles. So now it's very enjoyable.
Very enjoyable. You have tasted. And then in summer, when it is very warm here in Tuscany, it's something that you can also enjoy by itself, very, very easy, like aperitif. It's very, very nice. The other wines are a little bit more complex. So we suggest always the pairing with food. You can also enjoy a glass of the XE by itself. Yes, why not? But it's better if you pair with the right kind of food, because really, really, you discover a third dimension that can give to you more satisfactions, I think. Hello, a lot of people is I'm happy. Any question you have, please tell me, because maybe... What are your classic pairings? Okay, so, yeah.
Yes.
So for, in
I wanted to ask that right now. So
yes, we eat a lot of meat in Tuscany.
No, continue.
So the T-bone steak is the classical meat that we have here in Tuscany. But for the T-bone steak, we prefer to pair Sangiovese. Sangiovese is perfect for the T-bone steak. And also for many recipes made with meat that cooks for many hours, like stufato. So those kind of things are perfect for Sangiovese. For Tempranillo, we prefer different kind of meat. Maybe something white, like a white meat, not properly poultry meat that maybe sometimes is not so tasty, but maybe wild white meat, like pheasant,
goose or duck.
Something very, very nice with this one is the duck that we like to cook with pepperoni or orange juice. So pepperoni. So when you put with the meat fruits and vegetables, you cook for some hours so that at the end is something really dense and well melted with the meat. Yes, that is something interesting because you have the sweetness of some fruits, some tasty meat, but it's not so aggressive like the red meat. That is perfect with our Tempranillo.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, also many kinds of pasta. When pasta is not with the ragu, but you cook with the vegetables, something more light is perfect with this kind of wine. You must have a little bit of greasiness to clean out because the acidity is present also in our Tempranillo. The character of our Tempranillo is Tuscan Tempranillo. So here you find tannins and you find acidity. It's a style where you can recognize the Tuscan end. Oh, it's dinner time. So
what is the for the rosato? What would be the perfect pairing?
The perfect pairing is things with white truffle, like the egg with white truffle on the top, or the tartare with the truffle on the top. Is fantastic. Then we use a lot with the cold cuts, because the cold cuts you have some fatness, so the acidity of this wine can clean perfectly. Also little tapas, you know, those kind of things, salami, those kind of little things on the bread are perfect finger food with the rosato.
Any other questions here from the people? I wanted to ask another thing about the Tempranillo. Yes. Another thing about the Tempranillo. Yes. To go back to the Tempranillo, I don't know if you hear me. Do you hear me? No.
Caterina, cosa vuol dire ag? Longevity, ok. Longevity, ok, sì. Yes, age. Tempranillo has in the skin a lot of structure.
Yes.
It's very rich. If you are able to take this structure from the skins, also with long macerations on the skins, you can get a wine with a very long aging potential.
Yes, potential, because we don't have a bottle very old.
So we don't know yet, because we started to produce when? In 2004. So 2004 has been the first bottle of this wine of Vigna Le Nicchie. Vigna Le Nicchie is our most important Tempranillo wine, because it has been the first, and then also because it's very powerful, something that I'm going to explain now. So we have a history about Tempranillo from 2004, not so old. We can interpret the potential, because we have a long experience of on the other more traditional Tuscan wines, so we can understand that the potential is huge. And we suppose that this wine can last like the Reciso for 10, 20 years. We have done some verticals, because now it's 10 years that we are producing this wine, more than 10 years. So we have done verticals of each vintage, and it's interesting. We can see that the potential of the aging is great. Yeah, we are very satisfied with this.
But more or less medium body, X, 15 years.
Easily,
and Vigna Le Nicchie minimum 30 years.
30.
Yes.
We will see in the future. We will keep some bottles, and then we invite all of you to come to San Miniato and taste with us. Yes, sure. Yeah, you are all invited. I want to explain you something more about our first Tempranillo, the Vigna Le Nicchie. So first of all, Vigna Le Nicchie, the meaning of this name. Nicchie in Tuscan dialect are the shells. So we want to recall this very important presence in our soil. A vineyard with a lot of shells. We produce only 3,000 bottles of this wine because it's a vineyard that is quite small. And then we do a particular winemaking process, because before pressing the grapes, we dry the grapes for 4 weeks. So it's a sacrifice that we decided to do on this kind of wine, even if the quantity of the grapes was not so huge, because we wanted a concentrated wine, something very powerful. So while for the Sangiovese, we can get this powerness with this cutting of the grapes, so that if you vine per vine remain with 1 kilo, you reduce the quantity per vine and you concentrate in few grapes all the best of that vine. With very old vines, like this one of the Tempranillo, you could not do this. We have tried at the beginning, but it was something that created a shock in the vines. They were starting to create again new leaves. So it's something, no, not right. You create imbalance, you disturb them. In this way, if we harvest a little bit before the perfect maturation moment, we are speaking about 3-4 days before, we save acidity, and then we get this powerness with the drying of the grapes for 4 weeks, while during that period you lose the 30% of the water. Just you lose water and you concentrate everything. You concentrate the acidity, you concentrate the sugar, and so on. After this, we press and we keep the wine on the skins for how many weeks?
6 weeks.
For 6 weeks. That is really, really a lot. So we get from those skins everything that is possible. Yes, appassimento.
Dan was talking about.
It's like it's similar to in.
I don't know if you hear me, so just continue talking. No, just continue talking because I think you don't hear me.
Si sente male. Sì, sei un pochino disturbata, non riesco a sentirti. Ok. Sì, it's appassimento. Appassimento like they do in the north of Italy. There is a place in the north of Italy where you, in Amarone, where you do this kind of process. Now here is something really different because we keep the appassimento for 4 weeks. So it's just 1 month, not something more. Because here in Tuscany, we have a different kind of climate. We have more sun, it's more warm, and then the material that we dry, the Tempranillo, is a different kind of grape. So just 1 month, it's enough. It's enough to lose the 30%. That it's really, really a lot. We love this wine also by itself. You know, I'm just speaking a lot about the pairing of the wine with food. That is something that here in Tuscany we are really focused. For this one, it's not so easy to find the best pairing because yes, there is a recipe that we love. I don't know if you like, but we like to pair with the wild boar that we cook for many, many hours, where we add a lot of spices. We add also vinegar, and then at the end we add a lot of dark chocolate. So it's a recipe that it's quite heavy, right, for winter time, and then it's right because we have many wild boars and we don't know how to do with many wild boars. So the best is to create this wonderful dish to pair with this very, very powerful wine. But this is a wine that we like to call also a meditation wine, because you can imagine that the alcohol is very, very high. It's quite 15.5%, even something a little bit more. So you can just sit after dinner and enjoy 1 glass of this wine by itself. Do you dry just a part of the grapes? We dry all of them. We dry all of them. We dry 100% of the grape. Yeah, it's just a sacrifice. At the end, we produce just 3,000 bottles of this kind of bottle of this wine of Vigna Le Nicchie. Just 3,000 bottles for all the markets in all the world. So it's a small quantity that we can give to the several markets where we are working in. Yeah, it's something that also we had to learn how to do, because here in Tuscany there is not the knowledge, the experience to dry red grapes. Caterina, a posto?
Sì. Non mi preoccupate, tanto
vabbè,
sono qui.
Vedevo che mi volessi dire qualcosa. So we have been learning with our mistakes, because at the beginning you have to think that when we discovered that we had the Tempranillo in our vineyards, no one could know what was Tempranillo. No one had idea how to manage a Tempranillo to express its best. So we have done everything by ourselves, doing many mistakes at the beginning, because we had to try to do something, to understand the reaction of that vines, and to understand what we wanted to obtain and to express with that material. So it has been a very long and not so easy process. Also, we have to say that when we discovered that it was Tempranillo, it was 2004. And you know that in each region you have a list of the grapes that you can use and cultivate. And Tempranillo was unfortunately on that list in Tuscany of the grapes allowed. And so we had to do a long process that lasted for 5 years until 2009. But fortunately, at the end, we could say, okay, we are the custodians of very old vines of Tempranillo. We can say today, we can write on the label, because Tempranillo has been added to the list of the grapes cultivable in Tuscany. So this is thanks to us. But today we are the unique to have, and it's Tempranillo perfectly adapted. So it's a kind of clone that maybe in the future we can be able to call like the Tempranillo of San Miniato. This is our next project, just to create that specific clone, Tempranillo from San Miniato.
Okay. Cool. Any other questions about this?
Yeah, some more questions.
Do you have any more questions?
Yes, we export.
Do you export to the US? Yes.
yes, we export. We export there. We have some importers in some different states, not in all the United States. And it's my goal to find more importers and to be distributed the most vast way. So yes, we are there. We sell our wines in many countries all around the world with small importers that take care of the story that there is behind the wine, and that they have the passion to explain and to involve and tell to the people our story. Boston, not in this moment. We have had in the past, but we are rebuilding some relationships in New York. So we hope soon we'll be also in Boston.
Okay, for those of people who have joined now, we're talking with Pietro Beconcini from Tuscany. Just to repeat in case somebody doesn't know. So they're doing Tempranillo in Tuscany. No, Indonesia, no.
Unfortunately, I would like, but I've never found the importer. But I would like. If you know someone, please tell me, so I can fly and meet directly. It's a good excuse also, because we travel a lot around the world. Yes. Now in India we have a very good importer in Japan. Then we sell in Hong Kong, in China, in Australia.
So you're a bit everywhere. Yes, somebody to help them import it to Indonesia.
Sure. The importer.
So if you know anyone.
Yes, if you know anyone, why not? Yes, a very serious importer then that can understand deeply the style of our wines. It's not easy.
Yeah. How many bottles do you produce in total?
In total, we produce 100,000 bottles. So it's a small, medium winery. 100,000 that are divided between 6 red wines and a very small quantity of the sweet wine that is the Vinsanto. We can tell something also about the Vinsanto.
Yeah, the Vinsanto, because the Vinsanto is very good. It's like a top Vinsanto, I would say.
Grazie. You know.
So perhaps if you describe a bit about. No, but they're exporting wine, Raymond. We talk about wine here. Well, anyway.
Yes, it's wine, just wine.
So, yes. So if you describe perhaps your Vinsanto to the people here, because it's very much different from the general Vinsanto.
Yes, and then, you know, Vinsanto is really something very little in the culture of wine. So it's not easy that many people, they really know properly how what is behind the Vinsanto when making. So first of all, Vinsanto is a great passion that you can have because in your family you have had in the past people doing Vinsanto. because it's something that you pass from generation to generation. So we produce Vinsanto, that means olive wine, for some reason. Now we are drinking 2007, so many years. It's not Vinsanto simply a sweet wine. I don't like this, because sweet wine, you can say everything and nothing. No, you create confusion. Vinsanto is an oxidative wine, so it's a wine made with the oxidation. That it means, it seems nonsense, because with the oxidation you can ruin wine. While Vinsanto is something like something magic, because you do something fantastic. What we do, we harvest the grapes at the beginning of September, and then we put in a room hanging on from the roof, so we create a wall of grapes that go down, and we live there for some months. So during those months, maybe 6, maybe 5, it depends on the season, the grapes lose the water, so they dry. So this is really, really traditional in Tuscany for the oxidative wine, to use this process of the drying. That is something that we don't use for the red wines, but that we use for the wine that I have described before. After this long process of drying that lasts until March, if we are fortunate and if the season is good, we press the grapes, and you can imagine that you press raisins. So what you obtain is something poor, something very little, a small quantity, little quantity. And then we put in chestnut kegs or oak kegs, because chestnut is something that is a little bit no more used during the last years, and we leave 1/3 of the oxygen. Okay, so 2/3 of wine, 1/3 of oxygen, and then you close those kegs and you never open again. So everything can happen inside those containers, and you never know. You will know when you will be opening again. It will be happening in 5 years, in 6 years, who knows? And you can have a good surprise or a bad surprise. Usually it's a good surprise. Now we have a lot of experience in this. And then you take out the wine carefully, and you put in big bottles, glass bottles, and you leave the wine, the Vinsanto, decant naturally, because at that point Vinsanto is so dense, so full of things that you cannot filter and bottle. You must just leave aside, just decanting. What is important, and we like always to explain, is that when you open the containers, you have the amount of the yeasts that have been sleeping, going down during this long time. The oxygen is no more inside, has been consumed. The Vinsanto has been evaporating, so we don't lose only production during the drying, but also during the maturation in the caratellos. That is the name of the little chestnut kegs. So at the end, you know how we lose from the beginning. We lose more than the 80% of production, and we can bottle just 1,200 bottles per year if we are fortunate. This is This is the result of this long process, our Vinsanto Caratello 2007. This is a wine that is just oxidated, and you can leave opened for months, nothing happens. It's just an oxidated wine, but very sweet, because the drying is also very, very long. Important, the grapes that we use are Malvasia Bianca, Colombana, Trebbiano, and Malvasia Nera. So we have 3 varietals white and 1 red. The red varietals gives acidity, so you can compensate the strong sweetness with the acidity of the red grape, and in this way you create a well balanced wine.
Hello, Monica. Monica is a sommelier from Viareggio. She's much better than I am. I don't know that much about wine like she does.
Monica, ciao Monica.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
Monica, welcome Monica. So, and you know, when I have been with some people from this morning organizing wine tastings, and there is the concept that you can pair Vinsanto with cantuccini. Cantuccini are some are biscuits that by tradition we pair with Vinsanto. They were asking me, we dip the biscuits inside. I'm sure that the most part of you have been in Tuscany, and maybe at the end of the lunch or the dinner, they tell you to do this with the biscuits. Don't do with my wine, please. Don't ruin my wine. It's good if you pair my Vinsanto with the biscuits, with some cakes, but just not deep, nothing inside this. And what I prefer with Vinsanto is just the pairing with blue cheese. For us is the best. With Gorgonzola and Vinsanto, you have Stilton, you have Roquefort. What you prefer? Just blue cheese is perfect if you pair with this kind of wine. Ciao, Monica. Benvenuta. And we love also with the liver pate. In Tuscany, there is a deep tradition on liver pate, and we use also the wine at the end of cooking the liver, so that when you pair this kind of wine, a little bit chilled with liver pate, is something just perfect. So not only sweet things, but also salty things, and also intense in the flavor. You can make this blend for opposite sensation, and it's something I think very, very interesting. And then there is also another way, just like a wine for meditation after dinner. In Tuscany, we have also the tradition of the cigar. So cigar and Vinsanto may be something good to do.
So, Daniela, è stata da voi, Monica?
Sì. Campo Chiarenti, you agree, Vinsanto is a wine. Don't put cookies inside. No, no cookies inside. Aside.
Because Daniele is also producing a very good Vinsanto, but he's in close to Siena, no, San Miniato, I think.
Yeah, is in our heart, Vinsanto. Is a wine for the passion, for your love for traditions. It's not easy. And if you have your style, you maintain, you use your old mothers. Mothers is the amount of the yeast that go down. It's a great satisfaction. When after 7-8 years you open those caratellos and you don't know what we have inside, it's always something that you are in the pain. What's happening? But satisfaction, like something that born. So it's passion, a lot of passion for Vinsanto. Ciao,
Bene, so Nazim, he's from, I think he's in Milan. He's an American, but I think he's living in... there's a lot of people now. Anyone who has any more questions?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have explained a lot about the other wines, but any question you have, we produce Tempranillo, that is the focus of this meeting, because it's something really particular and unusual. But we have to say that we are traditional winemakers, so our love for Sangiovese is the first for Sangiovese, and tradition for Chianti Riserva and so on. The Tempranillo has been, something that has happened. And we could not say, okay, we don't see this, because it was, something incredible on our road. We had to take care of this discovery. It has been very, very hard, not very easy at the beginning. Also later, it's something that we have to explain every day, because we are a family-owned winery. We are here, we are not famous, and we have to tell this story every day to the most number of people, because it's our life, it's our story, our discovery. We love this so much.
Yes, for those of you who hasn't been here before, they are, like she said, they're growing Tempranillo, which is very unique for Tuscany. Yes, I think so, Raymond.
What it means?
No, free duty, it depends. I don't know what's the agreement with between Indonesia and Italy. I think you would have to look into that.
As free duty.
Anyway, he will write me later on because. Della nata 2015.
Bella. Bella. Non diciamo siamo un pochino nella preoccupazione adesso perché si sta portando avanti in inglese, scusate. Scusami. So 2015 was a fantastic, incredible, wonderful vintage. Everything was very easy.
Yes, it's a very balanced. Now it's very young, but for me, it's 5-star.
5-star
yes.
Vintage. Yes. So, ci sbilanciamo un po'. So we think it will be one of the best, really. Also because 2014 was so hard, was a very hard vintage because it was raining a lot, and so. We are organic, we are under the sun, under the sky. We need the usual conditions to grow the grapes, to mature the grapes. Sun, and something clear in the sky. This light that is very clean, this light that is very brilliant. The right amount of sun, not too much sun. It's not that you need something very warm to mature perfectly the grapes. We need just the balance. Something that increases slowly by May, June, July, August. But each year is a challenge because really it's very different to expect 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You never know what is going to happen. And also this year we are a little bit worried because we are expecting some rains. We will see. But 2015 has been something incredible. We are very, very happy. Something very, very easy.
Sì, deve tornare Monica da loro.
Sì, Monica, it's time to be back.
Yes.
Yes, Monica, we wait for you. When you...
Any more questions from Daniela or Nadia or Jen or anyone? I think Raymond may want to contact you again later on, but we'll see.
Yeah, sure. It's with pleasure. You can find me in internet, my website. You can contact me, stay in contact with pleasure.
And for the rest, I don't know if you have any questions. We have covered wine tasting, we have covered wine pairings, their wines, the territory, the Tempranillo, so the longevity. So I think we have covered almost everything today.
Yeah. Nadia, you are welcome. Come.
Nadia would like to come and visit you too.
Yeah, sure. Yes, sure. Now we have
come with me next time.
We have been traveling a lot during the first months of the year, but now we are looking here at the vines that everything is going well. So you can find us easily at home at the vineyard, at the winery during this period. And in summer for sure. Yeah, we'll be here checking everything.
Your link again.
Yes.
So I'm dropping their link again if you want to go and look at the website.
Yeah, thank you.
And for Altea, who is the magazine I write for in the US, I think Beconcini will be one of the next articles because I write for them once a month.
Yeah.
A new etiquette for label for the Riserva?
No. There is a new label for the regular Chianti. If you have seen, we have done a new label for the regular Chianti. It's there, just there on the sul mobile di là, può darsi. Yes, because between the wines that I have explained before, we have also another label that we use just for the export. That is the regular Chianti, Antiche Vie. And we have completely changed the label in direction of something more traditional, more closer to the Chianti Riserva label. And this is the new label of the Antiche Vie. That is something that we use a lot internationally. And this is the representation of the site from our winery of San Miniato, our village. This is a not a painting, but just a drawing with the black pencil of a painter that lives in San Miniato. He was just sitting outside, and they wanted to do some drawings in 10 minutes, and then it was given to us, and we have decided to use one of them like the new label of our traditional regular Chianti. Yeah. Antique Vie, Ancient Roads. Again, Ancient Roads, because we want to recall the Via Francigena, that is the road of the pilgrims where we live. Thanks to this way, to this long way, we have found Tempranillo here in our property. So we want always to remember this important old path.
Okay. So does anyone have any more questions for Eva or Leonardo? I think it's been a very interesting blab today with a lot of new info about the Tempranillo and the area in San Miniato, which until I visited you, I didn't know that much about the area around Pisa and San Miniato. So it was very interesting, and the photos are coming soon because Paola has just sent me the photos she did. So if anybody else doesn't have anything to add, do you have anything to add, Eva?
Oh no, I have been speaking a lot. I think I've done this big ad to all the people here, so I can shut up now.
I apologize because sometimes people don't hear me, but normally I tell them to just continue talking because these things happen with blab, unfortunately. Anyway, I thank you, Eva and Leonardo, for being here. It's been very interesting.
Grazie, it was so funny. I want to do again.
So we can do another time with to talk about I don't know, something you're new and not perhaps, or something. What else? And for those of you who are here and followed us today, I thank you for being here. If I dropped also the link to my blog for those of you who doesn't know me. So you can sign up and get the latest news about the blabs, and also the links to because I will put everything on YouTube. So also this blab will be on YouTube very soon. So I thank you again, and I hope to see you next Tuesday when we will have a winery from.
We wait for you in Tuscany, in San Miniato. Now in summer, you can help us during the harvest if you like, and also during the autumn, because we will have the white truffle. That is something fantastic.
That is true.
Yes. So not only now, but also during the autumn. Yes, white truffle and wine is a perfect wearing always.
True, and they sent us to this perfect restaurant. They were very nice. So we should all go to San Miniato again, and I will bring Nadia and Susie and everybody to visit you. So thanks again very much, and have a nice evening, and see you soon. Bye bye.
Ciao, bye bye. Ciao.